Another big highlight of the day was Prime Minister Modi's address to the US Congress. It's what they call the American Parliament, situated in the iconic Capitol building. The Indian leader addressed a joint session of the US Congress, the only Indian leader to do so twice. The first time he did it was in 2016. Yesterday was the second time. Only a handful of world leaders have done this, the likes of Winston Churchill and Benjamin Netanyahu. So what was different from his 2016 speech? For starters, the length. The first one was about 45 minutes, this one around an hour. And what did the Prime Minister talk about? Well, everything from trade to technology and defense to democracy. This is what he said about India-US relations.
In the past few years, there have been many advances in AI, artificial intelligence. At the same time, there have been even more momentous development in another AI, America and India.
It's already trending. AI, America and India, he said. He also spoke about the growing defense ties.
At the turn of century, now the United States has become one of our most important defense partners. I would say the scope of our cooperation is endless. The potential of our synergies is limitless. And the chemistry in our relations is effortless.
But cooperation is impossible without people, and in this case, the Indian Americans. So the Indian leader spoke about the Samosa Caucus. It's what they call a group of Indian Americans in the US Congress.
There are millions here who have roots in India. Some of them sit proudly in this chamber. And there is one behind me who has made history. I'm told that the Samosa Caucus is now the flavor of the house. I hope it grows and brings the full diversity of Indian cuisine here.
So friendship is great, but India and US share a common challenge too, and that is China. And Prime Minister Modi spoke about China in perhaps the strongest possible terms yet. As always, he did not name the country, but what he said stands out.
A region where all nations, small and large, are free and fearless in their choices, where progress is not suffocated by an impossible burdens of debt. Where connectivity is not leveraged for strategic purposes, where all nations are lifted by the high tide of shared prosperity.
The other issue he tackled was the Ukraine war. The Prime Minister reiterated that this was the era of peace.
With the Ukraine conflict, war has returned to Europe. It is causing great pain in the region. Since it involves major powers, the outcomes are severe. Countries of the global south have been particularly affected. The global order is based on the respect for the principle of the UN Charter. Peaceful resolution of disputes and respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity.
He spoke about how the war affects the global south. And that's a region whose cause India has championed. The Prime Minister is pushing to include the African Union in the G20.
As we emerge out of the pandemic, we must give shape to a new world order. Consideration, care, and concern are the need of the hour. Giving a voice to the global south is the way forward. That is why I firmly believe that the African Union be given full membership of G20.
Throughout his speech, there was one common thread: the focus on India's democratic credentials.
Democracy is the spirit that supports equality and dignity. Democracy is the idea that welcomes debate and discourse. Democracy is the culture that gives wings to thought and expression. India is blessed to have such values from times immemorial. In the evolution of the democratic spirit, India is the mother of democracy.
Prime Minister Modi wrapped up the speech with a poem that he said he once wrote. Listen to this.
I'm reminded of a poem that I once wrote. आसमान में सिर उठाकर, आसमान में सिर उठाकर, घने बादलों को चीरकर, रोशनी का संकल्प ले, अभी तो सूरज उगा है। अभी तो सूरज उगा है। दृढ़ निश्चय के साथ चलकर, दृढ़ निश्चय के साथ चलकर, हर मुश्किल को पार कर, घोर अंधेरे को मिटाते, घोर अंधेरे को मिटाने अभी तो सूरज उगा है।
This speech resonated with Congress members. There were a total of 15 standing ovations, 79 rounds of applause. And when the Prime Minister finished, Congress members rushed to meet him. Some wanted an autograph, others wanted a selfie with him. All in all, a very successful second address of the US Congress, one that attests to India's growing global stature.